Municipalities across Ontario each had big plans for this year. Those mostly came to a screeching halt when it turned out that 2020 had different plans for everyone in the form of a global pandemic. What's it like to turn on a dime and lead at the local level during such a crisis? Let's find out. Joining us now in the town of LaSalle, Ontario, which neighbors Windsor in the southwestern part of the province, Mayor Marc Bondy. In Stratford, Mayor Dan Mathieson. And in Burlington, Mayor Marianne Meed Ward. Welcome to you all.
Great to be here.
We appreciate your time. What's been the most challenging part of your job in leading your communities during a pandemic? Mayor Bondy, I'd like to start with you.
I would say the most challenging is you're putting out news releases, putting out information, and then they're trying to ask you questions in relation to what you put out. And for them, we're 33,000 population roughly, so for them to get to you, email, cell phone, they have all ways of access. And I think that's the hardest part is when you put out any information and they have questions in relation to what you put out, it's not a simple yes or no, so that a lot of questions do come forward. So the challenge has been, how do you meet the mass of people? And that's been social media, yet then they start conversing on social media about the statement, which was they've taken the wrong way. So to correct that is challenging.
Mayor Mathieson, what's been the most challenging part of doing your job during this pandemic?
Well, first of all, the communication has been the challenge. Secondly, it comes with pivoting on a regular basis. Some of the things that we had originally thought that we could do or not do changed on the hour in the first couple of weeks. And then as we settled into some type of cadence, communication became a challenge because people were thirsty for information on the hour that they got in the initial few weeks, and they weren't comfortable waiting 2 and 3 days and 4 days for government to make a decision. And then I think what's happened now is we got into fatigue for a while, and people really got antsy to get out and about. And now that we've been in phase 3 for almost 4 weeks, if not a little longer, we have people now forgetting that some of the things that got them to phase 3, such as social distancing. So we're redoubling our efforts to try to continue to emphasize the need for vigilance around social distancing, hygiene, and of course, social bubbles as such.
And Mayor Meed Ward, what about you?
Well, there's no manual for governing in an unprecedented global pandemic. You know, the last time we saw this was 75 years ago, and I doubt any of us were around back then. So, you know, you have to, one thing that I did learn, and I'm grateful to the staff at the city and our residents, is that it's more important to act quickly than to get it right. If you're erring on the side of caution. And so we've made, I can tell you, I've made a number of mistakes in the pandemic, but we pivot. We say, well, that's not where we wanted to go. Now we know that. Changing, moving on, and admitting that to the community. And that has, I think, built a lot of trust with the community, where we've said, we're going to act really quickly based on what we think the best response is to keep people healthy. And to date, Burlington is the lowest per capita in the entire Golden Horseshoe region. So it's good news for our community.
Well, job well done to you, Mayor.
Thank you.
If I could just follow up, I think one of the things that Marianne said was really important is that people are expecting us to make decisions, and they're not expecting perfection. And I think what it's allowed us to do, because we, like everybody, had a pandemic plan in our emergency control strategy. But this what's happened, not much was covered in that. And it's allowed us to make decisions we never would have made before. And it's allowed us to change the way we deliver government that we never could have got through any other way, because people wouldn't have been willing to try these things that today they're willing to do differently.
That's interesting. So you think there's been a bit of a silver lining to this whole thing?
Absolutely. A crisis is a terrible thing to waste.
Well, the economic fallout from this pandemic has been massive. And one of the challenges you've all faced when it comes to managing your budgets during the pandemic is that you're not allowed to run deficits. And the pandemic has probably brought up new expenses as well. What are the biggest fiscal challenges faced by your municipalities, and how are each of you dealing with it? Mayor Bondy?
From a financial impact, we still don't know the total bottom line, but we have to throw a shout out to Premier Ford. He was down in Windsor area, and the 7 local mayors, as well as Drew Dilkins, met with him on Thursday. He, and ironically enough, he announced some social packages that will be coming to each municipality, which will help us out. Now, at the end of the year, and we're not there yet, obviously, we're going to have to see how we made out, but we're now stage 3, a little later than the other municipalities. But we're moving forward. Arenas are opening. That's a revenue generator for us. So we're okay. We're coping with it. It's just when you're in a crisis situation that you haven't seen, as Mayor Meed stated, 75 years ago, I definitely wasn't here. So it's something that we take our time, try to make the right decision. It's not always the popular decision, but it's the right decision.
And Mayor Meed, what about you?
Well, costs are up and revenues down, and that's the worst possible picture you can be in. So we added more transit service to allow people to be safely separate from each other, and we made transit free, so we had no revenue coming in, and that was done purely for public health and safety. We canceled our spring programming. We now have summer programming and fall programming, but our numbers are very, very limited. We have roughly 500 or so kids enrolled in our summer programming because of the limits on the numbers of participants and the cohorts. We would get upwards of 2,000 before. So we're running, and we have to put more staff on. We have to do additional cleaning. We have to provide personal protective equipment. So we're close to $1 million now in our COVID expenses budget that are just related to COVID. By the end of the year, if everything were to go back to normal in September, which it won't, we're $8 million revenue in the hole. And for us, that would represent, if we had to cover that entirely through the tax base, that's about a 6% tax increase in 1 year. So obviously untenable. But we also have reduced facility fee rentals. We just did that. We've increased our subsidies to individuals taking programs through the city because we know our residents are hurting. We've enhanced some funding for local businesses as well. So we're doing more for the community with the money that we have, but we are also in that deficit. Well, not a deficit, but we'll have to, we're very grateful actually for the money from the province. It will help us a lot.
Mayor Mathieson, what about you?
Well, similar to all the other challenges, Stratford is, of course, a tourism destination. And not having the Stratford Festival this season represents 1.5 million visitors to our community that won't come. The theater generates $140 million of GDP for our local economy. So not having them here, not having the visitors here, and having the flow out to other businesses, coupled with, much like Marianne had said, the increase in bus service with no revenue, the increase in costs for cleaning, all those things have left us with a similar 6% shortfall in revenue for the year. And with the money we received last week from the province, it'll take a large dent out of it, but we're still going to be short. Here in Stratford, we laid off a number of full-time workers for a period of up to 60 days early on. Our management team all took an across-the-board pay cut, as did council, and we have used various ways like that to try to find a way to shorten the gap in our fiscal challenge, and we are getting there. Our long-term concern is, so what does 2021 finish like, and what does 2022 look like?
I'm going to bring up something that's a bit controversial, but I can't pass up this opportunity when I have all of you here. Should you be allowed to run deficits, considering it is an unprecedented event? Mayor Ward?
Actually, no. We at the municipal level are not looking to run deficits, and I sit around the table with the Ontario Big City Mayors, which is municipalities over 100,000, and we were united in sending that message to the province that that was not one of the tools that we were looking for. It has to be paid back at some point, and so we, like every municipality, we build up our reserves for a rainy day, and I say COVID is the rainy day of all rainy days. But even with that, we were trying to look at getting our 8 million down to roughly 4 million through the use of reserves, but that really leaves you vulnerable. So we can't deplete those reserves, and that's a good way for municipalities to fund. So it's like a savings account as opposed to running a deficit. We do collect in our base budget every year money that goes into winter control or whatever, our parking fund, transit fund, infrastructure funds, so that we can be prepared. But this pandemic has really threatens to wipe it all out without the assistance that we've received from the province. So deficits, no, but proper municipal financing going forward, yes.
And Mayor Bondy, what about you?
I would agree. We don't I wouldn't allow deficits if we could vote on it. And we plan for the future, and our reserves are healthy. We've always been that way. We plan for tomorrow, but we don't want to pay tomorrow. So we do a balanced approach where we're not going to let our future generations pay for the debt today. And it's easy for us to pay for things and then pay it later, but that's not how we've planned. So luckily, we're a community that's one of the highest per capita municipalities in Ontario. The growth here is second to none, I believe, in Ontario. So we have a healthy budget, and I don't want to go into a deficit if we don't have to, and I would vote against it if that ever came to a vote.
Okay, and Mayor Mathieson?
Well, I agree with both what's been said by Marc and Marianne, but I want to add a reason why. The provincial and federal levels of government have their taxation powers tied to growth in the economy, and municipalities do not. And I think to have debt put down to the municipal level that can be erased when economic recovery starts is wrong. And it should go to the federal and provincial levels if need be. The transfer of the $7 billion we just saw from the federal government to the province and the subsequent transfer to municipalities is a great way to handle this. And as long as they're in sync with where our costs are, and in this case they were with social services, general operation of government, and transit as the major three expenses, along with public health, I think it reflects that they are aware of where the costs are and they are funding us in the right areas.
And I want
And
to
I would,
go
if
ahead.
I can just jump in there for a minute, the analysis has shown that municipalities get 9 cents roughly on the dollar for all the taxes collected, and yet we're on the front lines of delivering essential services. And we've really seen that through COVID-19, that we are the ones that are actually tasked with keeping our public healthy and safe. And so one of the silver linings that I think Mayor Mathieson talked about earlier is we need to negotiate a new relationship with the federal and provincial government and get more of that more than 9 cents on the dollar for our cities, because we are the closest level of government to the people, and certainly now we're seeing that we're delivering the essential services that they need.
Windsor-Essex County was the last region in the province to enter stage 3. As a border town, you've had unique challenges. What would you say has been the most difficult for your town?
For our town specifically, we were, I think in the last 2 months, we didn't have any new cases. So our municipality in and of itself was fine. But when you look at Leamington and Kingsville with the agri-farm workers, I feel for them. They came here, they didn't have the disease, and they were infected after they came. So that was a tough situation. And I think Hilda McDonald and Mayor Santos did a great job in handling that. But being the border, we have a lot of nurses across the border on a daily basis. And that was unique. And we were getting some complaints for especially the nurses who were sleeping in trailers in their driveways because they didn't want to bring it to their home. And we were getting complaints about bylaw enforcement. And we said, that's not a bylaw we're going to enforce. These people are helping save lives. Yes, it's in another country, but they're still giving of themselves to go there and put themselves in harm's way. So that's about the only minor issue that came up. Other than that, we've been very lucky in this municipality.
And Mayor Mathieson, you mentioned the Stratford Festival. Millions of tourists come into the city, lots of money that you won't be able to see this year. What steps are you taking to protect the arts community, given the huge financial hit that they've taken?
So what we've tried to do in this case is to make sure that the business community that has been supportive of the arts stays there. And in other forms, we've continued to offer support through our grant program that the city's had in the past. So right now in downtown Stratford, we have boardwalks everywhere. We're dining in space. The Stratford Summer Music has gone to a completely free program this summer. We have looked at supporting our art gallery, our museum. So we've taken our grant program and tried to extend it in that way. And we're also very much believing that the Stratford Festival, who is working at the federal and provincial level, because they generate $65 million of taxation for the two senior levels of government, there's an obligation for them as an international arts organization based in Ontario and Canada to get some support through the federal and provincial government. And we're not talking about Ontario Arts Council or Canadian Council Arts funding. We're talking about recession recovery. There's 3,000 jobs depend on the Stratford Festival, and there's an opportunity for the federal government to give them the $8 million they've asked for. And in return, the festival has also said they'd go out and fundraise the further $12 million to support the organization to get through the pandemic over the next 16 to 24 months.
And Mayor Meed Ward, you know, last year, Maclean's magazine named Burlington the best community to live in Canada out of over 400 different communities, which was a big deal for your community. We keep hearing about people grieving. You know, we had young people who are graduating not being able to attend their graduations. Things have changed. Funerals, if you lose a loved one, you're saying goodbye in a different way. If you're leading a city, how do you navigate that collective grief within the community? Because you had lots of plans to build on from what happened in the city from last year.
Well, thank you for that reminder. We're still #1 in Canada. We still hold the title. So that's great. But you raise a really, really important point. And we are, I would say, for about the last month, and this is a challenge for our community, that the mood has been very challenging. And I think that's the effects of being locked up, the uncertain, you know, the early lockdown of the community, the effects of just financial uncertainty that many people face. And we know it's taken a significant toll on the mental health of our community. And I've seen it in the mood. In the streets, and some of the inbox messages, even on social media, that I've seen people really lash out because they're hurting. And so we are trying to provide positive experiences and outlets. Certainly, like many municipalities, we offer virtual programming. We had a virtual Canada Day. We're looking at virtual Remembrance Day celebrations or ceremonies, and we continue though to allow people where merited to express what they need to get things off their chest. So the best example of that would be the Solidarity March, June 4th. We had probably the largest march in the GTA outside of Toronto. There were close to 10,000 young people that took to our streets to call for an end to racism. And particularly anti-Black racism. And the police stood with the movement, we stood with the movement, and that was in the middle of a pandemic. So you want to talk about controversial, but people, we had no outbreak after that. And it was an important, it's really important when you're in a pandemic, especially, to allow those moments and expressions of things that transcend what is happening with the pandemic, to say it's still important. In fact, it's extra important because we know in some areas that the pandemic has disproportionately affected women and people of color and our Black, Indigenous, people of color community. So that was an important thing to embrace and just kind of go with it. And again, I think somebody mentioned earlier, there will be criticism for every decision you make, and you just have to step out in faith, believing that it's the right one.
And just to build on what you were saying, Mayor Meed Ward, for Mayor Bondy and Mayor Mathieson, what steps have you taken to ensure that the most vulnerable in your communities are taken care of? Mayor Bondy, please.
Good point, but we're not really affected by that. Since we're a bedroom community, if you will, to the city of Windsor, we don't really have that vulnerable population, if you will. We have a local policing. We're the only municipality in the county that still has local policing, and they're really in tune with what's going on. I speak to the chief weekly. I'm the chair of the Police Services Board, and we haven't had any instances that I've been made aware of in relation to the vulnerable population. We've extended the food bank. We had the Miracle Day, June 27th, that brought in thousands of pounds. I think it was around 400,000 pounds of food. So that has been taken care of. But as far as anything else, we don't really have a vulnerable population other than the needy for the food bank.
And Mayor Mathieson, what about you?
So what we did is we took a couple of the motels that were not being used for theater guests. We made sure that everyone had housing during this period. We also then worked with our seniors and through the United Way and various organizations that volunteered, set up a program to check in on seniors and those with disabilities or in need. We also had people doing grocery pickups and checking in on them. So they would do a safety check on individuals. They'd also pick up their groceries and have them delivered. They would take people to and from appointments where necessary. And we really set up a kind of a social safety net in conjunction with our social services. As it relates to vulnerable and mental health issues, we did see a rise of that during the pandemic within our community. The Stratford Police Service has a social worker, a mental health worker that rides with them on a regular basis. We did extend the hours for longer periods so those individuals could ride with the officers more often. And they were on the front lines with them, triaging the individuals when we arrived at cases to make sure we were getting them the right supports they need so that they didn't fall into the justice system as much as they needed to be dealt with either within the social framework or the health network.
School is just around the corner. Mayor Meed Ward, I'd like to start with you. Are you concerned about the potential public health risks this might pose to your municipality?
I think we're all concerned, right? It's again, it's unprecedented times, and we know the two most important things that people can do is keep your distance, 6 feet, and exercise proper hygiene and wear a mask. You know, that's been another very controversial decision that we, like most municipalities, have asked people passed a mandatory mask bylaw, and it's not. You know, in the schools going back in Halton region, it is there for some cohorts, but not all of them. So the concern I hear from parents is the class sizes, because we have to be able to maintain that physical distancing. And even if, you know, statistically, we've seen that youth are less susceptible, and if they do get COVID-19, they're more resilient. They have families, they go home to families. Some of those families are frontline workers. Some of those families are immunocompromised. And so what happens in the school affects all of us, whether or not you have kids in the system.
And Mayor Bondy?
It is a challenge, and what we're leaning on is the health professionals. What comes down from the province and our local health unit. I've talked to people on the board, and they're saying we're split. 50% of the population have concerns about sending their children to school, and the other 50 will take preventative measures as much as they can, but they are sending their children to school. I have 3 grandkids, 2 in school, and they'll be going back to school, and we'll do whatever we can from a safety point of view. But
are you worried about them going back?
Well, I'm concerned as a grandfather for sure, but knowing the family and the precautions they'll take, and hopefully they'll teach the kids on how do you do social distancing when you're playing at recess and whatnot. But all that might change. It's going to be a difference for the children. But I think from a mental health point, I know especially my oldest grandson, he needs that. He's a very social guy. He needs that, his friends and at school. And you can see a change in his behavior from not being in school. So I think hopefully there's no long-term effects, but 20 years from now, we may look back and go, we should have, could have, would have, but this is something that hopefully they don't have to go through again.
And Mayor Mathieson?
Well, I'm concerned. After we've worked so hard and diligent across the province to keep the numbers low, I believe the social aspect of it and the mental health aspect is important for students. But I do worry that kids, whether or not they're in the classroom or in other spaces, after we've told them to social distance, maybe aren't going to be good at it when they get back into the school. Mayor Meed Ward laid it all out. You have families that have frontline workers. Either the parents can bring it home or the students can take it home to them. I think the first 2 or 3 weeks of the school year is going to be very telling for us, and we need to be nimble and ready to react quickly, and where necessary to make alternative arrangements quickly. And I think that's really what we need to do. And diligence and vigilance have got us this far, and we can't rest on our laurels now, because we are opening back up to a very major opportunity here for community spread.
I think on a personal level and a collective level, there's been lots of lessons for all of us to learn. I wanted to get a little personal. We only have 3 minutes left, so maybe 45 seconds from each of you. What do you think is the hardest lesson you've learned about city leadership as a result of the challenges presented by the pandemic? Mayor Meed Ward, I'll start with you.
Well, I had a pretty thick skin before from 20 some odd years as a journalist, but you need a thicker skin. You can be sure that whatever decision you make, about roughly half the folks will agree with you and half won't. And as I said, the mood sometimes is pretty pretty upset out there. And so just keeping your sense of humor, keeping optimism. But the bright side, and I always look on the bright side, is we're all more resilient than we think we are. We can pivot and move much more quickly than we ever thought we could. And I see so many good things coming out of this pandemic for municipalities. So there is a silver lining there.
And Mayor Bondy?
I agree with the thick skin. The social media can attack because they don't see you. We're trying to be vocal in as much as we can social distancing, but when you communicate with unless you're doing daily reports, and we're a small municipality, they just think, well, what happened? They're sleeping. And when it first started, when you're dealing with news releases from Premier Ford and then Prime Minister Trudeau, we couldn't make decisions until that came out. So we learned that our EOC team, Chief Sutton, who's in charge, he did a great job. It's a pandemic that we weren't prepared for, but our emergency team came together, and we have a great administration team here. So it is a lesson learned, and hopefully we don't have to use this going in the future, but we may apply the lessons we learned on a different situation that may arise.
And Mayor Mathieson, you have about 20 seconds.
Well, thick skin is something we all have to have, but more importantly, I learned that leadership is also communicating, and whether or not you can be in the same room with people, you have to at least talk to them and reach out to them. And whether it's community leaders within groups, within the business community, within city staff, or just ordinary citizens, everybody just wants to know their issue's been heard and that you're listening and that you're going to try to act on it. And I think if anything, most people have developed a sense of resiliency around who they are, because they've had to adapt on the fly so much. And I just hope when we look back on this in 5 years from now, we see it as a time that families came together and communities got stronger.
We appreciate your time, and we wish you continued success in your communities. Thank you so much for your insights this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
The Agenda in the Summer with Nam Kiwanuka is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. CPA Ontario is a regulator, an educator, a thought leader, and an advocate. We protect the public. We advance our profession. We guide our CPAs. We are CPA Ontario. And by viewers like you. Thank you.